You look like someone who just left a whole world behind. Evan stopped with one foot off the curb. A black sedan tore through the puddle in front of him, close enough that the side mirror snapped cold air against his coat. Its horn came a second later, sharp and angry, like the city itself had lost patience with him. He stumbled back under the convenience store awning, rainwater running off his hair, his phone clenched dark in his fist. The woman stood by the glass door with a paper cup in both hands. Cream coat. Wet lashes. Calm eyes that didn't ask permission before noticing him. "I'm fine," Evan said. She looked at the curb, then at him. People who are fine don't usually try to negotiate with traffic. "I wasn't negotiating. You were losing." He should have walked away. He had already left one room tonight. He was good at leaving. But something about her voice made leaving feel like a performance, and he was too tired to perform. Behind her, the convenience store glowed too bright for midnight. Fluorescent light spilled across the wet sidewalk. The glass reflected both of them back in faint, uneven shapes, him pale and soaked, her still as a small flame in bad weather. His phone buzzed again. Madison. Then his mother. Then nothing. The woman saw him turn the phone face down. She did not look at the screen. She looked away, toward the street, as if privacy was a thing she could hand him without making a ceremony of it. That bothered him more than a question would have. "You always talk to strangers like this?" he asked. "Only the ones standing halfway in the street." "I wasn't halfway. Your shoe was making a commitment." He glanced down. His left shoe was still inches from the curb, water running around it in silver threads. He stepped back fully. "Better?" he said. "Safer." "I don't know about better." The corner of his mouth almost moved. Almost. The rain had thinned to mist, but everything still shone. Neon from the liquor store across the street broke apart in the puddles. A bus sighed past with 3 people inside and no destination that looked believable. Somewhere down the block, a couple argued under one umbrella, their voices rising and falling until a truck swallowed them. Evan had no umbrella. No car. No plan. He had left his car in his father's driveway 27 minutes ago, though it felt like another life. His mother had called the dinner casual, which meant his father had worn a pressed shirt and everyone had pretended not to notice the careful seating arrangement. Evan had been placed between Madison and Uncle Paul, across from his father, directly under the chandelier that always made the dining room feel like an interrogation room with good china. For the first 20 minutes, he had survived. Madison talked about the hospital. His mother asked if anyone wanted more potatoes. Uncle Paul mentioned Arizona twice. His father carved the roast chicken like a man cutting evidence into portions. Then Paul asked, "So, Evan, still doing the freelance design thing?" There it was. The table tightened. Evan set down his fork. "Architectural visualization, yeah." His father gave a short laugh without looking up. "That's a generous way to put it." Madison said, "Dad." "What?" "He knows what I mean." "I have clients," Evan said. "For now." The words were quiet. That made them worse. His mother reached for the wine, missed the stem, tried again. "Robert, not tonight." His father looked across the table at Evan with the old, polished disappointment. The kind he could deliver without raising his voice. The kind that made everyone else feel like witnesses instead of accomplices. "Paul has a real opening," Robert said. "Stable salary. Benefits. A future. Commercial flooring sales," Evan said. "A job." "I don't want it." You don't want a lot of things that would help you. Evan felt Madison go still beside him. His father leaned back. You're 36. At some point, talent stops being an excuse. Evan looked at his plate. A perfect slice of chicken. Rosemary. Carrots cut on the bias. His mother's hands folded too tightly beside her water glass. I'm working, he said. You're drifting. I'm paying my bills. Barely. That was when Evan should have pushed back. He knew that now. He should have said, you don't know that. He should have said, you've never asked. He should have said, I am not a failed version of the man you wanted. Instead, he sat there and let the room decide what kind of son he was. His father's voice lowered. You always disappoint people, Evan. You have to know that by now. No one moved. His mother whispered his father's name. Madison said, that's enough. But it was already done. The sentence entered Evan cleanly. No noise. No dramatic break. Just something inside him going cold. He folded his napkin once. Then again. Thank you for dinner, he said. His mother looked up, eyes wet. Honey, I'm going to go. His father's chair creaked. Don't be childish. Evan looked at him then. For 1 second, the whole room narrowed to his father's face, gray at the temples, mouth tight, eyes hard with the confidence of a man who had mistaken control for love for so long that nobody challenged the language anymore. If I stay, Evan said, I'm going to say something honest. Then he walked out. No slammed door. No speech. No dramatic exit. Just the porch light behind him, rain in front of him, and the sudden terrifying quiet of not going back inside. Now he stood under a convenience store awning with a stranger who had somehow named the exact shape of it. You okay? She asked. I thought you didn't ask obvious questions. I make exceptions when people almost become hood ornaments. I didn't almost, you did. He exhaled through his nose. Not a laugh. Close enough that she noticed. She held out her free hand. I'm Lumi. He looked at it. Her hand was small, steady, no jewelry except a thin silver ring on her thumb. Not a wedding ring. He noticed that and immediately disliked himself for noticing. Evan, he said. He shook her hand. Her fingers were cool from the cup. His were colder. She did not comment on that either. Evan, she repeated, like she was not judging the name, only setting it somewhere safe. Do you have somewhere to be? He looked down the street. Home meant a studio apartment with a cracked radiator, a drafting table covered in unpaid work, and a laptop waiting to remind him that loving something did not make it secure. His parents' house meant his car, his mother crying, his father pretending the dinner had gone wrong because Evan had left. No, he said. Lumi nodded. That sounded honest. I didn't mean for it to. Most honest things slip out when people stop guarding the door. He looked at her. She lifted her cup. That one was too polished. Sorry. I work events. Sometimes I overphrase. Events? Rich people in bad lighting. Nervous brides. Charity boards. Gallery openings where everyone says immersive and nobody knows where the bathroom is. Despite the ache in his chest, Evan felt the smallest edge of curiosity. You handle all that? I prevent disasters no one thanks me for. That sounds like a family dinner. Her gaze sharpened. Not much. Enough. He turned away. A rideshare sedan slowed near the curb. Lumi checked her phone and stepped forward. The car stopped, hazard lights blinking, then pulled away before she reached it. She stared after it. Wow. Your ride? Apparently my former ride. Sorry. I'll recover. Probably in a memoir. She tapped her phone. The screen lit her face from below. No cars nearby. That happens? Usually not when I'm damp and emotionally supervising a stranger. I don't need supervising. Your shoe disagrees. He looked at the curb again and, against his will, smiled. Lumi saw it. She did not celebrate. She just opened the convenience store door with her elbow. Warm light spilled over the sidewalk. Come inside, she said. I'm not hungry. I didn't ask if you were hungry. I'm not buying anything. I am. I don't need. She looked back at him. Evan. You can stand out here and keep losing arguments with weather, or you can come in and hold something warm for 3 minutes. That's all. It was not pity. That was why he followed. Inside, the store smelled like burnt coffee, wet coats, and sugar. A bored cashier in a red hoodie glanced up from his phone. Refrigerators hummed along the back wall. A rack of cheap umbrellas stood near the door like a joke that had arrived too late. Evan stopped beside the window, feeling exposed under the bright lights. The security mirror in the corner showed him a version of himself he did not want to recognize. Damp hair. Pale face. Shoulders pulled tight. A man too old to be this shaken by his father and too tired to pretend otherwise. Lumi moved through the store without rushing. She filled one cup with coffee, then paused at the machine beside it. Coffee? She asked. No. Good. You look like coffee would make you confess to a crime. She filled the second cup with hot chocolate and brought it to him. I didn't ask for that, he said. I know. Do you always ignore people this efficiently? Only when they're wrong. He took the cup. It warmed his palms immediately. Too sweet, probably. Too childish, definitely. He held it anyway. They stood near the glass, looking out at the wet street. For a minute, neither of them spoke. That was the first strange thing about her. Most people rushed silence. They filled it with questions, advice, sympathy, anything to prove they were helping. Lumi did not rush. She let the quiet stay intact, and somehow that made it easier to breathe. You don't have to decide the rest of your life tonight, she said at last. He stared through the glass. Outside, the neon sign across the street blinked once, went dark, then came back red. You don't know anything about my life, he said. No. But I know that look. What look? The one people get when they think every choice is a verdict. He swallowed. It was too close. Not perfect. Not a quote carved in marble. Just close enough to make him defensive. I'm not having a breakdown. I didn't say you were. I don't need saving. I didn't bring a cape. That got him. A short laugh, rough at the edge, escaped before he could stop it. Lumi's mouth curved. Then the door chimed. A man stumbled in with a gust of rain behind him. He was maybe 45, maybe older, suit jacket wrinkled, tie loose, hair wet and flattened to his forehead. His face was red in the way of alcohol and grief. He took 2 uneven steps toward the counter, then stopped. His eyes caught on Lumi. The air changed. Oh, he said. Lumi's shoulders went still. Evan noticed before she moved. Her fingers tightened around her cup. Just once. Then she relaxed them. The man stared at her. No. No, no, no. The cashier looked up. Lumi set her coffee on the narrow counter beside the window. I think you have me confused with someone else. The man laughed, but it broke halfway through. You look just like her. I'm sorry. Don't say that. Evan stepped forward. Lumi's hand touched his sleeve. Not a grab. A warning. Wait. The man saw the gesture, and his face twisted. Of course. You have somebody now. Evan moved anyway, placing himself slightly between them. Lumi did not stop him this time. Sir, Evan said, keeping his voice low. The man pointed past him. I'm not talking to you. I can see that. Then move. No. The cashier picked up the phone behind the counter. Hey, man. You need to step back. The drunk man looked at the cashier, then at Evan, then at Lumi. His breathing grew rough. For a second, Evan thought he might swing. Lumi took one slow step to the side, not hiding behind Evan, not placing herself directly in the man's path. Hey, she said. The man's eyes snapped back to her. You're not in trouble, she said. But you're scaring people. That landed badly. His face hardened. You don't get to talk to me like you know me. I don't know you. You know her. No, Lumi said. Her voice stayed steady, but Evan saw her thumb press hard against the side of the counter. I look like someone you're missing. The man froze. The cashier had the phone ready. Evan kept his body angled, close enough to move. What was her name? Lumi asked. The man blinked. What? The woman. His throat worked. Claire. Lumi nodded once. I'm not Claire. I know that. Not yet, you don't. His anger cracked for half a second, and something raw showed through. Evan watched Lumi. Her face was calm. Too calm. But her free hand, the one half hidden by her coat, trembled once before she tucked it into her pocket. The man saw none of it. I just wanted her to answer, he said. I know, Lumi said. You don't. No, she said. I don't. But I know I'm not the person who can. The cashier said, I'm calling somebody if you don't head out. The man looked around as if the store had appeared around him all at once. Fluorescent light. Wet floor. A stranger blocking him. A cashier with a phone. Lumi watching him with more steadiness than softness. His face folded. Christ, he whispered. Lumi reached toward the display beside her and picked up a small packet of tissues. She held it out, but not too close. The man stared at it. For the rain, she said. He gave a cracked laugh, then took it. I'm sorry, he muttered. Lumi nodded. Go home safe. He left slowly, the door chiming behind him. No one moved until he was gone past the window and half a block down the street. The cashier put the phone back. That was too close. Yes, Lumi said. Her voice was still controlled. Evan turned to her. Are you okay? I'm fine. He looked at her hand in her pocket. That one doesn't work on me either. For a second, her composure slipped. Not dramatically. She just looked tired. young in a way she had not lived before. Then she took a breath, picked up her coffee, and forced a faint smile. "I was scared," she said. "I'm just not fond of letting drunk men know that." Evan nodded. "Fair. You were going to jump in." "I did jump in." "You were going to do it louder." "He was too close." "He was." "You should have let the cashier call sooner." "Maybe." He studied her. "You're not used to admitting that." Her eyes flicked to his. The moment held. Then she looked away first. "There's a 24-hour cafe 2 blocks over." "Is that an invitation?" "It's a tactical relocation." "To coffee?" "To somewhere with witnesses and chairs." He glanced toward the door. Outside, rain had softened the man's footprints into dark patches on the sidewalk. "Good plan," he said. "I have those occasionally." They left the store together. The city felt different now. The danger had passed, but not cleanly. It left a charge in the air, a reminder that calm was not magic. Lumi walked with her hands in her coat pockets, her pace even. Evan matched it. Close, but not crowding. At the corner, a truck sprayed water through a pothole. Lumi stepped back fast, and Evan caught her elbow without thinking. She looked down at his hand. He released her immediately. "Sorry." "No." Her voice was quiet. That one helped. The cafe was narrow and warm, tucked between a laundromat and a closed record shop. Its sign read Marlowe's in faded gold letters. Inside, amber pendant lights hung over scratched wooden tables, and old jazz played low enough to feel accidental. A nurse in blue scrubs sat near the back with both hands around a mug. 2 college students slept over open laptops. Lumi chose a booth by the window. Evan sat across from her and realized he had taken the seat facing the door. She noticed. Of course she did. "Habit?" she asked. "Probably. Useful one." He looked at her. "That's all?" "I'm trying not to analyze you before the tea arrives." "Generous." "I contain multitudes." The barista came over. Lumi ordered chamomile tea. Evan ordered black coffee. She raised an eyebrow. "What?" He said. "You refused coffee 15 minutes ago." "I've grown." Men have one near-death experience and suddenly trust espresso. The barista laughed as he walked away. Evan smiled despite himself. Lumi took off her coat. Beneath it, she wore a soft gray sweater, the sleeves slightly too long. She wrapped her hands around the warm mug when it came, though she did not drink right away. That was when Evan saw it again. The faint tremor in her fingers. She tucked them under the table. He looked at the window instead. Another small mercy, borrowed from her. "So," she said, "what happened before the traffic negotiation?" He leaned back. "Family dinner." "That explains the formal damage." "Formal damage?" "You're wounded but polite." He looked down at his coffee. "That obvious?" "Only to people who prevent disasters for a living." He told her less than he expected and more than he wanted. He told her about his father's offer through Uncle Paul. The job he did not want. The word stable used like a leash. He told her about architectural visualization, about making spaces that other people might build, about the design studio that had closed and the freelance contracts that came late and paid later. He did not explain everything. He did not have the energy. Lumi did not ask him to prove the wound. That made him say the worst sentence himself. He said I always disappoint people. Lumi's eyes changed. Not pity. Anger, maybe. Small and controlled. That was cruel, she said. The plainness of it hit harder than any beautiful sentence could have. Evan looked away. He thinks he's helping. Maybe. Still cruel. He let that sit. The cafe window reflected them faintly. Two strangers in a booth after midnight. His hands around black coffee. Her face turned toward him, soft in the amber light, but not soft enough to lie. I should have said something, Evan said. You left. That's not saying something. Sometimes it is. I ran. Maybe. She took a sip of tea. Did it feel like running? He hesitated. Outside, a taxi rolled by, its roof light blurred by the wet glass. For 1 second, he said, it felt like relief. Lumi nodded, as if that answer mattered. He waited for the next line. Something polished. Something devastating. Instead, she only said, then don't ignore that. He breathed out slowly. That was worse. Better. Both. You do this a lot? He asked. Drink tea with unstable men? I'm not unstable. You were nearly street pizza 20 minutes ago. Emotionally unstable is different from poor curb awareness. Fine. Tea with men suffering from poor curb awareness. He smiled into his coffee. You're very annoying. I've been told I'm memorable. That's not the same. No, but it's better for branding. A silence settled. Easier this time. The nurse left. The barista wiped the counter. Rain moved down the window in thin lines. Evan found himself watching Lumi's hands. No wedding ring. Thumb ring. Short nails. A tiny scar near one knuckle. She noticed him noticing and let him feel caught for exactly half a second before saving him. I used to date someone who called me whenever he felt too much, she said. Evan looked up. He didn't mean harm, she added. That made it harder. You don't have to tell me. I know. She turned the mug slowly between both hands. He liked that I could calm him down. At first, I liked being trusted. Then every bad night became my responsibility. If I didn't answer, I was abandoning him. If I did answer, I disappeared from my own life. Evan said nothing. Her voice stayed light, but not effortless now. One night after an event, I sat in my car for almost an hour because I knew if I went home, the phone would ring, and if it rang, I'd answer. What did you do? I turned it off. That sounds small. It wasn't. No, he said. I know. She looked at him then. For once, she seemed like the one caught in the light. He did not explain how he knew. He did not have to. The recognition moved between them quietly. Lumi looked down first. Anyway. Compassion is lovely until someone turns it into rent. That sounds like a line you've used before. It is. Usually on myself. The answer landed softly. He wanted to touch her hand. The thought came before desire had time to dress itself up as gratitude. He wanted to place his fingers over hers, just for a second, not to claim, not to comfort, but to say, I see that too. He did not. Instead, he said, you were shaking after the store. Her gaze lifted. Just a little, he added. She studied him. The humor returned, but slower. You notice things. I draw buildings for a living. Details are the job. And here I thought you just had tragic cheekbones. He blinked. Tragic what? Don't make me repeat it. The lighting did most of the work. He laughed, and this time it came easier. Then his phone lit up on the table. His father. The name sat between them like a third person. Evan did not touch it. Lumi looked out the window. His father's call ended. A text appeared. We need to discuss your future. Come by tomorrow. Paul can still make room for you. Evan read it once. Then again. The old pull began immediately. Go. Smooth it over. Make your mother feel better. Let your father talk. Don't be difficult. Don't be ungrateful. Don't make the family carry your mood. He placed the phone face down. Lumi said nothing. That made him look at her. You're not going to tell me what to do. No. Why not? Because you'd either obey me or fight me, and both would let you avoid yourself. He huffed a laugh without humor. That's very convenient. It's also true. I hate that. I assumed. He rubbed both hands over his face. I don't want that job. Okay. I don't want to sit in my father's kitchen while he explains my life to me. Okay. But if I don't go, my mother gets upset. Madison has to mediate. My father turns it into a respect issue. Everyone acts like I'm the problem because I made the room uncomfortable. Lumi leaned back. Her voice softened. Then the question isn't whether you can keep them comfortable. He looked at her. It's whether you're willing to stay uncomfortable long enough to be honest. There it was. Sharp, but not ornamental. A knife laid flat on the table. Evans stared at her. I said I wasn't going to tell you what to do, she said. I didn't say I'd be useless. He almost smiled. The phone buzzed again. Madison. He did not answer. I should go, he said. Lumi nodded, but something in her face shifted before she covered it. You have a ride? She asked. I'll get one. The real answer. He looked at his phone. I'll get one. Good. They stepped outside together 10 minutes later. The rain had stopped, leaving the street rinsed and black. Steam rose from a manhole near the curb. The city looked half asleep and still listening. Lumi's car arrived first. She paused with her hand on the door. I don't know how to thank you, Evan said. You can start by not walking into traffic. I'll add that to my growth plan. Excellent. Very ambitious. He smiled, then let it fade. You made tonight less lonely. The words came out plain. Too plain to hide behind. Lumi's expression changed. For one moment, all her easy grace quieted. She looked at him as if he had stepped closer without moving. Good, she said softly. Lonely nights get dramatic when they're unsupervised. He smiled, but neither of them laughed. Then she pulled a receipt from her coat pocket, borrowed a pen from the cafe's outdoor chalkboard ledge, and wrote something on the back. She handed it to him. Her name. Her number. Not because I'm your therapist, she said. I didn't think you were. And not because I collect emotionally damp men from convenience stores. Important to clarify. It's because tomorrow might get loud. And it helps to know one person heard you correctly. He folded the receipt carefully. "Good night, Evan." "Good night, Lumi." She got into the car. He watched the taillights blur red down the rain-black street until the night took them. Morning arrived gray and mean. Evan woke on top of his covers with his shoes still by the door and his coat thrown over a chair. His apartment looked exactly like it had the day before, which felt unfair. Dirty mugs near the drafting table. Books stacked on the floor because the shelf had been broken since March. A library rendering open on his laptop, all warm timber and glass, a public space he had designed for a city that might never build it. His phone held 11 missed calls. He called Madison first. "Oh my God," she said. "Are you alive?" "Technically." "Don't be cute. Are you okay?" He looked at his laptop, at the library full of imagined light. "Not really." Madison went quiet. "Dad was awful." Evan sat down. "You said that?" To his face. That surprised him enough to laugh once. How'd he take it? Like someone had thrown a salad fork at the monarchy. The laugh came easier this time, then faded. "Mom cried," Madison said. Guilt moved in fast. "I figured." But she also said he went too far. Evan closed his eyes. Madison's voice softened. "You don't always disappoint people." He pressed his thumb hard against the edge of the desk. "Thanks," he said, because anything more would break his voice. His father texted at noon. "Paul needs an answer by Friday." At 5, after a day of failed work and reheated coffee, Evan texted Lumi. "I survived morning." Her reply came 2 minutes later. Define survived. Did not walk into traffic. Answered sister. Ignored father. That's practically a trilogy. He smiled at the phone like an idiot. Then another message appeared. "Also, please confirm you ate something with nutritional value. Lasagna exists in my fridge. Existence is not consumption. You're bossy. You're underfed." He leaned against the counter, the apartment too quiet around him. Then he typed, before he could overthink it, "Do you ever go back to places by accident?" A pause. "Sometimes on purpose." He stared at that for a long time. That night, he walked. He told himself it was for air. Then for coffee. Then because the rain had stopped and the city looked almost kind. He did not tell himself the truth until he turned onto the same corner and saw the convenience store sign flickering blue over the wet sidewalk. Lumi was there. She stood beneath the awning, dark coat this time, hair loose around her shoulders, holding a pack of gum she clearly had not needed urgently. When she saw him, her face opened for half a second before she hid it behind a smile. "Well," she said. "Either we're predictable, or this store has excellent emotional marketing." Evan stopped a few feet away. "What are you doing here?" "Buying gum." "At midnight." "My breath has complex needs." "At this exact store?" "It has cultural significance." He looked at her. She looked back. The joke ran out of road. "Finally," she said, quieter, "I wondered if you'd come back." The street noise seemed to drop. A car passed, headlights sliding over her face. She did not look away, but he saw the cost of that sentence. Lumi, who could turn a crisis with a sentence, suddenly looked like someone standing closer to a ledge than she preferred. "I wasn't sure I would," he said. "I know." "Were you waiting long?" "No." He smiled faintly. She rolled her eyes. "Fine. A little." "How little?" Don't become difficult. I'm evolving. Regrettable development. He stepped under the awning beside her. Not too close. Close enough that the warmth of her body changed the air. My father texted, he said. About the job? Friday deadline. Sounds official. It's flooring sales, not a hostage negotiation. Families can make anything sound like a hostage negotiation. He laughed softly. Then his phone rang. His father's name lit the screen. The sound cut through the moment. Evan silenced it. A voicemail appeared. Then a text. You can't avoid this forever. Lumi glanced at the screen because he let her. Her mouth tightened. What do you want? She asked. He looked at her. It was such a simple question. Not what did his father want, not what would make the room easier, not what would prove he was responsible. What do you want? I don't want the job, he said. Okay. I don't want to be talked into it. Okay. I don't want to spend the next 10 years becoming easier for him to explain. Lumi's expression softened. That sounds like an answer. It doesn't feel like one. Answers rarely feel good at first. Mostly they feel expensive. He smiled tiredly. There you go again. What? Making things sound better than they are. No. She looked down at the gum in her hand. I'm making them sound survivable. He watched her thumb move over the edge of the package. You do that, he said. What? Make jokes when something matters. Her thumb stopped. For once, she had no quick answer. The blue convenience store light flickered above them. Rainwater dripped from the awning in a steady rhythm. Evan's chest tightened. Sorry. Was that too much? No, she said. But her voice was different. He waited. She looked toward the street, then back at him. I do that because if I say the thing plainly, people tend to either grab it or run from it. I'm not doing either. Not yet. The answer was honest enough to hurt. He nodded. Fair. A bus passed. Neither of them got on it. After a while, he said, Do you want to walk? Yes, she said. Before this gum becomes a plot device. They walked toward the overlook, past Marlowe's, past closed boutiques and parked cars glazed with rain. Their shoulders nearly touched twice. The third time, neither adjusted. The city opened below them at the railing, towers scattered with late windows, the lake carrying broken lines of light, low clouds pressing everything closer. Evan rested his hands on the rail. My father used to bring me here, he said. Lumi stood beside him. Yeah. He'd point at buildings and tell me which contractors cut corners. Which developers were crooks. Which projects went over budget. Sounds cheerful. I thought he was teaching me the city. Evan looked over the water. Maybe he was teaching me to distrust everything before I could love it. Lumi did not answer right away. He appreciated that. I loved buildings anyway, he said. Not the money part. Not even the big impressive ones. I liked how a room could change someone's shoulders. A lobby can make you feel small. A library can make you feel like you're allowed to stay. That's not a small thing. It sounds naive. It sounds like you should not sell flooring. He laughed. The wind moved between them. Lumi tucked her hands deeper into her coat. Evan looked at her. You cold? A little. He almost offered his coat, then realized that would be too much and too obvious and probably ridiculous because she had a coat. She saw the thought cross his face. "Don't you dare do the coat thing," she said. "I wasn't. You were emotionally reaching for a coat. That's not a thing. It was in your eyes." He shook his head. "You're impossible." "No, just inconvenient." They smiled at each other, and the moment warmed too quickly. Evan looked away first. His phone felt heavy in his pocket. "I should listen to the voicemail," he said. "Do you want to?" "No." "Then why should you?" "Because not listening feels cowardly." Lumi leaned her elbows on the railing. "Maybe. Or maybe you already know what's in it, and you don't owe the wound a replay." He took that in. Then he pulled out the phone anyway. Lumi did not stop him. She only turned slightly away, giving him space. His father's voice came through tight and controlled. "Evan. This has gone far enough. Leaving dinner like that was disrespectful to your mother and embarrassing for everyone. Paul is offering you a chance most people would be grateful for. I don't understand why you insist on making things harder. Call me." The message ended. The wind moved over the water. Evan lowered the phone. Lumi looked back. "Was it what you expected?" "Yes." "Did any of it sound like love?" The question was quiet. It undid him. He tried to answer. Couldn't. Lumi did not soften it. She did not take it back. Evan looked down at his phone, opened a new message, and typed before fear could organize itself. "I'm not taking Paul's job. I appreciate the offer, but it isn't what I want. I'm willing to talk when we can do it respectfully. I won't come over to be criticized or pressured." He stared at the message. His thumb hovered over send. Every old alarm went off inside him. Too rude. Too final. Too ungrateful. Too much. Lumi stood beside him, not touching him. But she was closer now. Close enough that her sleeve brushed his when the wind shifted. "You don't have to send it while I'm standing here," she said. "I know. I'm serious. Don't make me the reason." He looked at her. There it was again. Boundary, not distance. Care, not control. "I'm not," he said. Then he sent it. Nothing happened. The lake did not rise. The phone did not burn his hand. Somewhere behind them, a cyclist cursed at a pothole. Evan let out a breath that felt years old. Lumi watched his face. How bad? Terrible. And under that? He listened. The answer was small but clear. Better. Her smile came slow. Good. He looked at her. You almost said something sharper. I edited. Why? You already did the hard part. He wanted to kiss her then. Not because she had saved him. She hadn't. Not because the night was pretty, though it was. Not because she stood close in the rain with her hair lifting in the wind and her mouth soft from holding back a smile. He wanted to kiss her because she had seen him weak and not made him feel smaller. Because she had stood beside him without taking the decision out of his hands. Because she had asked one question and let him survive the answer. He took one half step closer before he realized he had moved. Lumi noticed. Her eyes dropped to his mouth. Only for a second. Then back up. The world narrowed. Wind. Water. her sleeve against his heart moving too hard. She did not move away. But she said, very softly, "Evan." It was not a warning. It was a pause. He stopped. "I know," he said, though he was not sure what he knew. Her breath came out uneven, almost a laugh. "Good. Because I'm not sure I do." That was the first time she had sounded uncertain. It made him want her more. Instead of kissing her, he looked back at the water. They stood there until the charged thing between them became bearable. "Walk me to my car?" she asked. Yes. Her car was parked 3 blocks away. At the door, she paused. "I don't usually stay this long," she said. He looked at her. "With people," she added, then winced faintly. "That sounded more dramatic than I meant." "No," he said. "It didn't." She searched his face. "Don't make it into a rescue story." "I won't." "Or a destiny story." "I'm not that poetic." "Good." He smiled. "I might make it into a convenience store story. That I can tolerate." Her hand rested on the car door handle. His hand was in his coat pocket. Neither moved. Then she stepped back. "Good night, Evan." "Good night." She got in and drove away. He stood on the curb after she left, not because he had nowhere to go, but because, for once, he wanted to remember the place where he had stayed. The next day, his father called 6 times. Evan answered the 4th. The conversation lasted 7 minutes. "You're being emotional," Robert said. "I'm being clear. You don't have the luxury of turning down opportunities. I have the right to decide what work I do." "That's childish." "No," Evan said, gripping the edge of his desk. "Childish is thinking a job I hate will fix the way you talk to me." Silence. His own sentence shocked him. His father recovered first. "I won't be spoken to like that. Then we can stop talking." Evan hung up. His hand shook so badly he put the phone on the floor. Then he sat down beside it. He texted Lumi 1 word. "Floor." Her reply came fast. "Bad floor or strategic floor?" He laughed once, breathless. "Strategic. Possibly dramatic." "Good. Name 5 blue things." He looked around. Painter's tape. A mug. A book spine. The old blanket over the chair. The unread icon on his email app. He sent them. She replied, "Excellent." Still in reality. Barely. Barely counts. He lay back on the floor and stared at the ceiling. She did not call immediately. She did not rush in. She did not turn his panic into proof that he needed her. She gave him something simple and let him use it. That mattered. Later, his mother called. He answered with his pulse still uneven. She cried. He did not apologize for leaving. That was harder than hanging up on his father. He told her he loved her. He told her the way Robert spoke to him could not keep happening. His mother said, "He worries." Evan closed his eyes. "I know. But worry doesn't get to wear cruelty as a coat." There was a long silence. Then she said, "You're right. Not enough to heal anything. Enough to make him sit very still after the call ended." Madison came by Saturday with his car keys and a container of lasagna. "You look weird," she said, stepping into his apartment. "Hello to you too." No, not bad weird. Different weird. I showered. Please. I know showering isn't character development. He took the lasagna from her. Thank you. She wandered to his drafting table and stopped in front of the library rendering. This is the one? Yeah. She leaned closer. Evan. What? It's beautiful. He looked away too fast. Madison saw that too. Unfortunately, being understood was becoming a theme. She turned slowly. There's someone. No. Oh, that no was terrible. There is not someone. You have a woman face. I don't know what that means. It means you're pretending not to hope. He busied himself with the fridge. Her name is Lumi. Madison's eyebrows lifted. Lumi? Yes. Is she real, or did the rain invent her? Event consultant. So both. He laughed. Madison smiled, but then her face softened. Does she make you feel okay? He thought about correcting the question. Okay was not the word. Lumi made him feel seen, irritated, steadier, exposed, occasionally like he had forgotten how to use his hands. Not okay. Better than okay. More dangerous than okay. She makes me feel like I don't have to lie as fast, he said. Madison's eyes shone. Good, she said. That night, he met Lumi at Marlowe's. Neither called it a date. They both knew that was a lie. She arrived wearing a black sweater and tiny silver earrings shaped like moons. Evan looked at her for 1 second too long and forgot the greeting he had planned. Careful, she said, sliding into the booth. You're looking at me like I successfully reorganized your soul. I was going to say nice earrings. Were you? Eventually. She laughed, and the sound went straight through him. They talked for 3 hours. Not about fathers the whole time. Not about pain the whole time. That helped. Lumi told him about the worst gala she had ever worked, involving a champagne tower, a missing necklace, and a mayor who believed the jazz trio needed his vocal contribution. How long did he sing? Evan asked. 4 minutes. No. 4 public minutes. That's not an event. That's a hostage situation. I've survived several. He told her about his first apartment, a basement unit where the upstairs neighbor practiced tap dancing at 6 a.m. She told him she loved hotel lobbies because everybody inside was pretending to belong somewhere, and somehow that made them forgiving. He said he loved libraries because nobody had to buy anything to stay. Of course you do, she said. What does that mean? You're a library man. Is that an insult? No. A diagnosis with good lighting. Their knees bumped under the table. Both of them noticed. Neither moved immediately. That tiny delay did more than a touch should have. Lumi reached for her tea and looked at the window. Evan smiled into his coffee. What? She asked without turning. Nothing. Liar. Maybe. She looked back at him. The humor in her eyes softened into something else. Evan felt the shift. So did she. He could have looked away. He did not. You ask everyone these questions? She said. What questions? The ones that don't feel like questions until I've already answered them. He leaned back. You mean like you do? That's different. Is it? Yes. I have better coats. He laughed. Then, quieter, he said, you're allowed to be seen too, you know." The words were simple. Lumi went still. For once, the room moved without her. The barista stacked cups. A spoon clicked against a saucer. Rain tapped the window behind them. She looked down. That's a dangerous thing to tell someone who makes a living noticing exits. "I know. Do you?" "I'm starting to." She rubbed her thumb along the rim of her mug. "I'm not mysterious, by the way." "I didn't say you were." People do. When they don't want to admit they haven't tried very hard. "I won't call you mysterious." "What will you call me?" He should have said something clever. Instead, he said, "Lumi." Her eyes lifted. The name hung between them, stripped of joke and armor. She looked away first, but she was smiling. "You're getting better at being dangerous," she said. "Barely. Barely counts." Sunday dinner came 2 days later. Before he left, Lumi texted, "Eat before you go. Family chicken cannot be trusted." He replied, "Emotionally compromised chicken? Known hazard." He stood outside his parents' house for almost a full minute before going in. His car was parked on the street. His keys stayed in his pocket. He had decided his leaving sentence in advance. "If this becomes another trial, I'm going home." He never had to use it. Dinner was awkward, stiff, and survivable. His mother hugged him too long. Madison kicked his shoe under the table once when their father almost mentioned Paul. Robert stopped himself. Twice. Evan noticed both times. After dinner, his father followed him into the hallway. Evan's body braced. Robert held out a folded printout. "What's this?" Evan asked. "Your mother showed me your library rendering." Evan stared at him. Robert cleared his throat. "I looked at the site plan." Of course he had. "There are drainage issues on the north side," Robert said. Evan almost laughed. "That's your feedback?" "It's real feedback." "It is." His father's mouth tightened, then loosened. "The atrium is good." Evan did not move. Robert looked uncomfortable, which was almost alarming. "The light. It works." The sentence was not an apology. It was not love in a language Evan could fully trust. But it was something. "Thank you," Evan said. Robert nodded once. For a moment, both men stood in the hallway, surrounded by framed family photos where everyone looked happier than they had probably been. Then Robert said, "I don't know how to talk to you about this." Evan's pulse jumped. "My work? Your life?" The answer was clumsy. "Honest, maybe." Evan looked at his father and saw the limits there. Not forgiveness. Not yet. Just a man holding a tool he did not know how to use. "Then maybe start by asking," Evan said. Robert's jaw moved. "All right," he said. That was all. It was enough for one dinner. Evan left before anyone could make the moment heavier than it was. He texted Lumi from the car. Survived. No trial. Chicken suspicious but edible. Her reply came fast. Proud of you. Hydrate. He stared at the words. Then, before he could talk himself out of it, he drove to the corner. He had not asked her to meet him. Still, when he turned onto the street, she was there. Same convenience store. Same blue sign. Dark green coat this time, hair lifted by the wind, hands tucked in her pockets. She was looking through the glass at the hot drink machine with deep suspicion. Evan parked badly and got out. Lumi turned at the sound of his door. For a second, neither of them covered anything. Then she said, "You're getting predictable. You're here. I wanted gum. You already used that one. I'm loyal to weak excuses." He walked toward her, smiling because if he didn't, the feeling in his chest might show too clearly. "I didn't go back," he said. Her face softened. He meant more than the dinner. He meant the job. The old pattern. The room inside himself where his father's disappointment used to sit in the largest chair. "No," Lumi said. "You didn't run either." The night settled around them. Inside the store, someone argued with the self-checkout machine. A delivery truck idled at the curb. The blue sign flickered once, making Lumi's face appear and disappear in the glass. "My father said my work was good," Evan said. Lumi's smile started small. "How are you with that?" "Angry. Happy. Suspicious. 8 years old." "That sounds about right. He also said he doesn't know how to talk to me." "And?" "I told him to start by asking." Lumi's eyes warmed. "Look at you. Don't sound proud." "I am proud." The words landed cleanly. Evan looked away, but not before she saw what they did to him. She stepped a little closer. "Too much?" "No." He looked back. "Just unfamiliar. I can make fun of you if that helps." "Please." You parked like a man fleeing both intimacy and a parking exam. He laughed. "That helped. I'm very skilled." "Yes," he said. "You are." The humor faded again, not abruptly, but like music lowering in a room. They began walking. This time, neither asked. The rain had not returned, but the sidewalks still held the memory of it. The city smelled like cold pavement, coffee, and the faint sweetness from the bakery starting its morning bread too early. A jazz club had its door propped open near the corner, and music spilled into the street, saxophone low and warm. Lumi slowed. "That sound is dangerous," she said. "Why?" "Makes people honest." He stopped beneath the awning with her. Through the window, the club was dim and amber. People sat at small tables turned toward the stage. A woman in a red dress laughed with her head tilted back. The saxophone bent into a note so tender it almost hurt. Evan looked at Lumi. She kept her gaze on the window, but he saw her swallow. "Can I ask you something honest?" He said. "You may risk it. Why did you really come back to the corner?" Her breath caught quietly. "Not enough for most people to notice." He noticed. She looked at him then. "I told you." Gum. Cultural significance. Lumi. There it was again. Her name, spoken without decoration. Her defenses did not fall. They lowered 1 inch. "Because after that first night," she said, "I kept thinking about what you said. That you made it less lonely?" She nodded. A car passed, headlights sliding over both of them. "I'm used to being useful," she said. "I know what to do in a crisis. I know how to calm a room, or redirect someone, or make a person feel steady for a few minutes." She looked down at the sidewalk. "I'm not always sure what to do after that," she said. "When nobody needs saving and I still want to stay." Evan's chest tightened. "You wanted to stay?" She gave a small laugh. Nervous. Real. apparently. The saxophone moved behind them, soft and slow. Evan stepped closer. Not much. A half step. Lumi did not retreat. Her eyes lifted to his. The air between them changed immediately. The street, the music, the passing cars, the blue reflection of the convenience store sign down the block, everything thinned around the simple fact of her standing close enough to touch. Evan looked at her mouth. She saw. Her breath changed. "Evan," she whispered. This time, it sounded less like a pause and more like a question. "I don't know what this is," he said. Her eyes stayed on his. "I don't know if it's a beginning," he continued, "or just a strange week with too much rain and very questionable hot chocolate." Her mouth curved faintly. "I don't know what I'm ready for," he said. "I just know I don't want this to end because I got scared and went quiet." Lumi looked at him for a long moment. Then she said, "I don't usually stay this long." The words were so soft the city almost took them. Evan did not move. "I know," he said. "No, you don't." "Then tell me." She looked past him for a second, toward the street, toward every exit she had probably trained herself to find first. Then back. "I don't usually let people matter while they can still leave," she said. That one reached him. He nodded slowly. "I can't promise I won't mess up. I wasn't asking for perfect. I can't promise I won't get scared. I assumed you would." He smiled faintly. "You're very comforting." "I'm honest. Comforting is seasonal." He laughed under his breath, then grew serious. "I'm not asking you to fix me," he said. "Good. And I'm not trying to make you responsible for my life. Better. But I want to keep walking with you." Her expression changed. That was the sentence. Not dramatic. Not enough for anyone passing by to understand. But enough for her. The music inside the club softened, piano joining the saxophone. Someone laughed behind the glass. A taxi rolled past, throwing gold light across the wet street. Evan lifted his hands slowly. Not to touch her face. Not to pull her closer. Just open between them. Lumi looked down at it. Her hesitation was small, but he felt every second of it. Then she placed her hand in his. Her fingers were cool. His closed around them carefully. She looked up. "This is not a contract." "No." "Not a rescue mission." "No." "Not destiny." "Definitely not." "What is it, then?" Evan looked at their joined hands, then at her. The woman who had seen him almost step into traffic and chosen not to look away. The woman who had stood beside him without stealing his choices. The woman who made jokes when things mattered and had admitted, finally, that she wanted to stay. "It's me not leaving," he said. Lumi's eyes shone. For one breath, he thought she might kiss him. She leaned closer. Barely. Enough that he felt the warmth of her breath, enough that the night seemed to hold still and wait. Then she stopped. So did he. The almost kiss hung between them, alive and unfinished. Lumi smiled, small and unsteady. "Not yet." His heart hit hard once. "Okay," he said. She squeezed his hand. "But don't go quiet." "I won't." "Good." They started walking again. Hand in hand, past the jazz club and the shuttered shops, past the convenience store where the night had first found them both pretending they were only passing through. They did not need to name everything. Not yet. the silence between them had changed. It was not empty now. It had weight, warmth, a place to stand. At the corner, the traffic light turned green even though no cars waited. Lumi looked at it and smiled. A little dramatic. Evan squeezed her hand once. Maybe the city's evolving. Dangerous. Barely. She laughed, and the sound moved with them into the late blue dark. For the first time in longer than he could remember, Evan was not walking away from anything. He was walking beside someone. And for tonight, that was enough to keep going.